In a world driven by power, influence, and survival, the timeless teachings of Niccolò Machiavelli still echo through the corridors of politics, business, and society. His work, The Prince, may have been penned in the Renaissance, but its strategies of manipulation, pragmatism, and power dynamics resonate today more than ever. From corporate boardrooms to political campaigns, Machiavelli's insights into leadership and human nature offer an unflinching guide for anyone seeking to thrive in a world where the stakes are high and the rules are often bent. But how do these 500-year-old ideas play out in the modern world? Welcome to the Unfolding Journey channel, where we explore the intersection of history, philosophy, and contemporary life. In today's episode, we'll break down Machiavellian principles and how they shape the modern landscape of power, influence, and strategy. Realpolitik and politics. Machiavelli's emphasis on pragmatism over idealism is the cornerstone of his political philosophy. In The Prince, he argues that rulers must be willing to make tough decisions, setting aside traditional ideals of morality if necessary, to achieve political stability and maintain power. Realpolitik, a term that emerged much later, reflects this Machiavellian worldview. Politics is about the pursuit and preservation of power, regardless of ethical considerations. Today, political leaders around the globe regularly make decisions based not on ideological purity but on calculated pragmatism. Realpolitik thrives in international relations, where global leaders often prioritize national interests over ideological alignments, particularly in diplomacy or conflict. The phrase, "the end justifies the means," although not directly from Machiavelli, perfectly encapsulates the essence of modern politics. Modern example. In contemporary geopolitics, we see this in the approach of powerful nations like the United States, Russia, or China. For instance, a country might ally with a controversial regime or overlook human rights abuses to secure a strategic advantage, like trade deals, military alliances, or access to crucial resources. In these situations, the ethical consequences of such actions take a back seat to broader strategic objectives. Machiavelli's advice is also visible in the way modern politicians engage in covert actions, like surveillance, cyber attacks, or intelligence operations, in the name of national security or economic dominance. These methods are often cloaked in secrecy, hidden from the public eye, reflecting Machiavelli's view that transparency and idealism must be sacrificed if a leader is to maintain control over unpredictable circumstances. Leadership and power dynamics. Machiavelli was acutely aware of the precarious nature of power. He believed that a ruler's survival depended on their ability to adapt to changing circumstances, manage internal threats, and manipulate public perception. This focus on maintaining power through strategic decision-making is reflected in today's political and business leadership strategies. In the modern world, the image of the leader is often as important, if not more so, than the leader's actual effectiveness. Maintaining control over public perception is crucial for sustaining influence. The use of media, social networks, and public relations to craft and project a leader's image has become a staple of modern leadership, whether in politics, business, or entertainment. Modern example. Think of political figures like former US President Barack Obama or former UK Prime Minister Boris Johnson. Both figures spent significant time cultivating a public persona that resonated with voters. Obama carefully crafted an image of hope, change, and empathy, while Johnson embraced a more populist, sometimes chaotic public image. Both leaders understood the power of image management and how it could be used to their advantage, regardless of their policies. Similarly, corporate leaders like Apple's Steve Jobs and Tesla's Elon Musk are masters of managing perception. Through their personal charisma and the strategic use of media, they've created larger-than-life personas that elevate the status of their companies. Jobs' ability to control the narrative around Apple, particularly through product launches, is a textbook example of Machiavellian power dynamics at play. Musk's frequent use of Twitter to shape public opinion or manipulate stock prices is another modern echo of Machiavelli's belief that a leader must always stay a step ahead in the game of perception. The use of manipulation and strategy. At the heart of Machiavelli's philosophy lies the use of manipulation, deceit, and calculated strategy to achieve and preserve power. In the modern world, These tactics have only become more sophisticated. Political campaigns, corporate strategies, and even personal interactions are often built upon these Machiavellian principles. Modern example. The concept of spin in media is an example of how modern leaders manipulate the narrative. Public relations experts use language, selective reporting, and even misinformation to create a favorable image or mislead the public. During elections, political candidates often focus on emotional appeals rather than policy debates, using targeted ads to stir up fear or hope. This strategic manipulation of emotions is a direct reflection of Machiavelli's idea that rulers should not be swayed by traditional moral constraints, but instead use every tool at their disposal to achieve their goals. Similarly, in the business world, corporate leaders often engage in strategic alliances, partnerships, and takeovers that allow them to outmaneuver competitors. For example, tech companies might buy out startups not because they need the product, but because acquiring the competition eliminates a potential threat to their dominance. Morality and ethics in leadership. Machiavelli's disregard for traditional morality in political leadership remains one of the most controversial aspects of his philosophy. He suggests that leaders should be prepared to abandon ethics when they conflict with the pursuit of power. While this might seem like an endorsement of cruelty or ruthlessness, Machiavelli's argument is more nuanced. He believed that successful leaders must be adaptable, willing to act decisively even when those actions challenge conventional moral standards. Modern example. Today, we see politicians and business leaders engaging in morally ambiguous behavior to maintain their grip on power. A contemporary example could be corporate lobbying, where companies push for policies that serve their financial interests but may not be in the public's best interest. Or consider political leaders who may employ divisive rhetoric or policies to stoke fear among the populace, securing their hold on power by creating an us versus them mentality. Though these actions may be ethically questionable, they are often deemed politically necessary to retain control. Moreover, the ethics of Machiavellian tactics are often debated in terms of their efficacy. A leader who prioritizes results, such as economic growth or national security, may justify questionable actions in the name of the greater good. This idea is frequently invoked when leaders engage in controversial actions like surveillance, war, or the manipulation of the media. The Prince as a modern CEO. Machiavelli's advice to a ruler mirrors the challenges faced by modern CEOs, who must often balance short-term performance with long-term strategy, while navigating a competitive landscape. In the corporate world, power is not only about financial success but also about controlling market share, shaping public opinion, and outmaneuvering competitors. Modern example. The rise of tech giants like Google, Amazon, and Facebook shows how modern-day CEOs adopt Machiavellian strategies to maintain dominance. Jeff Bezos' strategy of aggressive market expansion, leveraging Amazon's data to outcompete rivals, and using acquisitions to eliminate competition is a prime example of Machiavellian corporate tactics. Similarly, Mark Zuckerberg's efforts to expand Facebook's reach through acquisitions like Instagram and WhatsApp demonstrates a calculated use of corporate power to prevent rivals from gaining influence. These business leaders understand that in the corporate world, survival often depends on ruthlessness. Whether through the manipulation of stock markets, strategic mergers, or aggressive competitive tactics, modern CEOs embody many of Machiavelli's principles. The virtù and fortuna in modern context. Machiavelli's concepts of virtù, the qualities of a leader, decisiveness, courage, and adaptability, and fortuna, luck or chance, offer a way to understand how leaders navigate the unpredictability of life. In today's world, virtù could be seen in a leader's ability to recognize and capitalize on opportunities, while fortuna represents the unpredictable external factors that influence outcomes. Modern example. Entrepreneurs who succeed in Silicon Valley often do so by combining a deep understanding of technology, virtù, with the ability to capitalize on emerging trends, fortuna. For instance, tech entrepreneurs who recognize the potential of the internet, artificial intelligence, or social media in its infancy were able to seize opportunities that led to massive success. But their success wasn't purely by chance. It was a result of their ability to take risks and innovate. Survival and the protection of power. Machiavelli stressed that once power is achieved, it must be defended at all costs. This includes being ruthless in the face of internal dissent or external threats. Modern leaders, whether political or corporate, must similarly be prepared to take aggressive actions to defend their power. Modern example: corporate leaders often use litigation or public relations campaigns to neutralize competitors or protect their company's position. Political leaders may engage in purges, surveillance, or even violent repression to protect their regime from internal or external threats. The idea that power is fragile and must be protected at all costs remains a cornerstone of modern leadership strategy. Machiavellianism in psychology and social behavior. In psychology, Machiavellianism has become a personality trait associated with manipulation, deceit, and a focus on self-interest. This concept is part of the dark triad of personality traits, alongside narcissism and psychopathy. These traits are linked to individuals who are skilled in manipulation, often achieving success through cunning rather than through hard work or merit. Modern example: individuals in the workplace who engage in office politics, exploit the weaknesses of others, and strategically align themselves with powerful figures are examples of Machiavellian behavior in social settings. These individuals often climb the corporate ladder by using others as stepping stones, manipulating social dynamics to their advantage, and engaging in deceitful behaviors to further their personal goals. The role of fear versus love. Machiavelli famously stated that it is better for a leader to be feared than loved, though he notes that ideally, one should strive for both. In the modern world, this dynamic plays out in how leaders establish authority, sometimes through respect, but often through fear. Modern example: in large organizations or governments, leaders who wield power with strict rules, surveillance, and the threat of punishment often maintain control by making their followers fear disobedience more than they love them. Corporate leaders, for instance, may use the threat of job loss or public embarrassment as a means to keep employees in line. Machiavelli's teachings in The Prince are often framed as a manual for ruthless, sometimes unethical leadership. In the modern world, his ideas can be seen in the strategies of powerful political figures, corporate leaders, and even media moguls who are willing to employ manipulation, strategy, and sometimes moral ambiguity to succeed in their respective fields. While Machiavellianism in its most extreme form might be criticized, elements of his advice remain deeply relevant in the exercise of power today. If you're intrigued by the lessons of history and how they apply to the world today, don't forget to subscribe to the Unfolding Journey channel for more thought-provoking content. Stay tuned as we continue to uncover the untold truths behind the leaders, thinkers, and ideas that shape our world.